So let's talk about something that happens to so many of us. If you're over 40, you've probably noticed that sleep, well, it's just not what it used to be. It can feel like a nightly battle. I'm here to tell you, you are not just imagining it. And in this explainer, we're going to get into exactly why it's happening, and more importantly, what you can do about it.
Does this hit close to home? Yeah, it's a story I hear all the time. One day, you're sleeping like a log. The next, you're wide awake at 3 a.m., just staring at the ceiling, thinking, what on earth happened? If that's you, I really want you to hear this. You are so not alone in this.
The biggest lie we tell ourselves is that this is just a normal, unavoidable part of getting older. But it's not. These sleep issues, they're actually signals. They're signs of very specific things shifting around in your brain and your body. And here's the good news. Because they're specific, we can actually target them.
All right, so here's our game plan. We'll start by looking at just how common this really is. Then we're going to dive deep into what's changing in your brain, untangle the hormonal chaos, and look at the new rules your body is playing by. And of course, the most important part, we'll wrap up with a solid action plan to help you finally reclaim your rest.
So, just how widespread is this whole thing? You might be surprised. We're talking about insomnia symptoms hitting anywhere from a third to half of all adults. And factors like, getting older or being female can make it even more common. This isn't some small niche issue. It's a huge, shared experience.
Okay, let's get into the nitty-gritty. We're starting with the main control center for your sleep, your brain. What is actually changing in the wiring up there that's making that deep, refreshing sleep feel so hard to find?
We need to talk about something called slow-wave sleep. You can just call it SWS. Now, this is the good stuff. This is the deepest, most restorative stage of sleep where your brain is literally cleaning house. It's clearing out toxins, repairing your body, and locking in your memories. And get this stage is absolutely critical for your long-term brain health. A lack of it is even being linked to a higher risk for some serious neurodegenerative issues down the road. So getting this right isn't just about feeling good tomorrow, it's about protecting your brain for decades.
And right here, you can literally see the science in action. When we're younger, those brain waves during deep sleep are big, powerful, and dense. But as we get older, they get smaller, less frequent. It's like going from a deep, rolling ocean wave to a little ripple in a pond. This isn't just a feeling of lighter sleep, it's a measurable drop in the quality of our rest.
So why? What's going on? Well, some amazing research is showing it's because of a very specific loss of connections between key brain cells. Think of it like this. These connections are what get each other fired up to create those big, powerful, slow waves. It's kind of like a choir losing some of its strongest singers. The sound just isn't as rich or as powerful anymore.
So, we've seen how the brain's hardware starts to change, but that's really only half the picture. The chemical software that tells your brain when it's time to sleep, yeah, that's getting a major rewrite too. Let's get into the great hormonal mix-up that's messing with your internal clock. Let's start with melatonin. It's basically our body's go-to-sleep signal, the hormone of darkness. But here's the catch. Its production is on a decline for our entire lives. By the time we're 60, that nighttime signal can be so weak that the line between day and night gets chemically blurry for our bodies. That makes it incredibly hard to fall asleep and stay asleep.
And here it is, the culprit behind that dreaded 3 a.m. wake-up call. Meet cortisol, your stress hormone. Normally, it should be super low at night and then peak in the morning to get you going. But thanks to stress and age, you can get this premature spike right in the middle of the night, jolting you awake when you should be in your deepest sleep. Sound familiar?
And of course, we can't talk about hormones without mentioning the sex hormones. For women, when estrogen declines, it messes with the body's internal thermostat, leading to hot flashes. And when progesterone falls, we lose a natural calming agent, which can ramp up anxiety. And for men, it's not so different. A drop in testosterone is directly tied to more restless nights and way less deep sleep.
Okay, so the main point here is that these shifts in your brain and hormones aren't just happening on some chart somewhere. They create very real, very frustrating physical symptoms that can wreck your sleep night after night.
For instance, your body's ability to regulate its own temperature just gets, well, less efficient. First, it struggles to cool down enough to even let you fall asleep. Then, in the dead of night, you might have less muscle mass, which means you can't generate enough heat and you wake up feeling cold. And finally, that natural warming up process that should happen just before you wake up is weaker, causing you to wake up cold and way too early. It's a mess.
And what about that nightly trip, or trips, to the bathroom? It actually has a name, nocturia, and it's super common. But listen,
It's not simple. It could be from hormone changes, or just a bladder that can't hold as much as it used to. Or it could be a sign of something more serious, like diabetes or heart issues. So the takeaway here is absolutely crucial. Don't just brush this off. Talk to your doctor about it. Seriously.
Okay, deep breath. That was a lot of the why, but now for the best part. Now we get to the what you can do about it part. Because understanding these changes, that gives us the power to fight back. This is not a life sentence, it's a set of problems, and problems have solutions.
So let's get right to it. You know all this now. So what are the practical, science-backed steps you can take, starting tonight, to actually get better sleep?
First things first, you have to reset your master clock, your circadian rhythm. Getting some morning sunlight within an hour of waking is the most powerful signal you can send your brain to say, hey, it's daytime. Consistency is king, so stick to the same sleep and wake times even on the weekends. And at night, you gotta kill the bright lights. Dim everything down and put the screens away at least an hour before bed so your melatonin can finally do its job.
Your evening habits are just critical. Think of these as simple swaps. No more caffeine after 2 p.m., and yet alcohol might feel like it helps you fall asleep, but trust me, it shatters your sleep quality later in the night. Swap that stuff out for calming routines. A warm bath, which actually helps your body cool down for sleep, reading a real book, or sipping on some herbal tea.
You need to turn your bedroom into a sleep sanctuary, a cave, really. Your body needs to drop its core temperature to sleep well, so keep it cool. Darkness is the signal for melatonin, so make it as dark as humanly possible. Getting some movement in every day helps regulate everything. And journaling? It's such a powerful tool to just dump all that stress and all those racing thoughts out of your head and onto a piece of paper before you lie down.
Now, I want to be really clear about this. For a lot of people, these habits just aren't enough, especially if the biological stuff is really strong. And that is totally okay. That's when it's time to call in the pros. Cognitive behavioral therapy for insomnia, or CBTI, is the #1 science-backed treatment. And for many people, working with a doctor on hormone therapy can be the key that finally unlocks the door to a good night's sleep.
So I want to leave you with this powerful thought. Please, please do not accept bad sleep as your new normal. It is not inevitable. It's a sign that your body is a little out of balance, and with the right knowledge and the right actions, you can get that balance back.
So as we finish up, I have a question for you. After everything we've just talked about, what is the one single thing you're going to change tonight to start taking back your sleep? Just pick one, commit to it, and start that journey back to feeling rested again.